What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Scotty by Nature TV.
And Alexander Diane Rogers.
And we're here to see who was wrong. All right, you guys, and we're here for a brand new episode of Who Was Wrong. And I have
Alexander Diane Rogers. I want to know, why is your theme music better than Carlos King's?
Oh my God.
I was enjoying, I was grooving. I don't groove to a Carlos King theme song, yet he's the king of reality television. Can't get the sound right on his podcast, but is the king of reality television. Not even the king of his own castle or queen, but you are the king of reality TV. Now, you were supposedly stealing from Candy's life story, and Candy Burris has never told a lie in her life. She too cheap. She too cheap. But I'm sorry, I digress.
But we here for so I got Alexander Rogers here with me. We worked together before. We've been talking about working together again for a while now. But when go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's the time zone difference. It is the time zone difference. And we have got to have you on Pop Roast.
I would love to do it. I would love to do it. So when I do Who Was Wrong, I pick the person that I want to do it with, and I also allow them to go through a list of feuds that I can remember off the dome for them to choose from. Now, I honestly can say, because this is the third installment of Who Was Wrong, I feel like some of the best rivals that I had was on the first two, so we was left with this. But however, when you looked at it, I always ask when we do this, why did you choose Karen versus Gizelle? Why did you want this one?
I thought you had a good list. I'll say that. It was a good list to choose from. Okay. I picked Karen and Gizelle because I've watched Potomac since its inception. Mm-hmm. Like Love and Hip Hop, I actually didn't watch. Like I went back and saw like the first couple seasons, but I came into that like kind of mid. Yeah. So this is something where I'm like, I know these heifers from season one. So I feel like I could thoroughly speak on them. And I got to meet both of them at BravoCon.
How was that?
Interesting. I will tell you all about it. So they were both very nice. They were both very nice. I met Karen first because we got picked to me and Chris got picked to like do some of like, you know how like they go around at BravoCon and like ask people stuff like B-roll footage. They picked us to do some of that. Mm-hmm. So they took us over to this office where they were going to film us, and we got to meet Karen when she was coming out, and she was so nice. She smelled amazing. She had on these beautiful big gold earrings, and she said, "Oh, my husband got them for me and niece." Like getting to see like that kind of money up close. Right. I was like, okay, oh yeah, you're rich. Like that $100,000 tax debt, y'all was able to clear that up real quick. You have money. And so she was lovely. And then while we were like recording about like BravoCon and our podcast, they brought Gizelle in because there's this picture that me and Chris have with Gizelle. They brought Gizelle in and like we did this whole like footage with her, but they never used it. I don't know why they didn't use it, but they never used it. But she was nice. She was wearing a black toilet brush, but she was very nice. It was a toilet brush, like it was ruffles all through here in a U shape, like a toilet brush. So it was a black toilet brush. I guess, since she's full of crap, that's why she wore it.
Okay.
So that's what meeting them was like. But BravoCon was fun.
Yeah, it looked like it was fun. It does. It looked like it was fun. I wonder why do you think they canceled it this year?
I don't know. It is, it could be that because like there's nothing on Bravo right now. Like, I mean, Dubai and Jersey, and they're not like Dubai, 300,000 people watched last night. Like they should have left it on Sunday. Yeah, it's Dubai's like that first season wasn't that good. They don't have good drama. And like we're kind of seeing, the splitting of the friend groups this season, which is good. You need
Mhm.
two groups of three women that have like one or two of them bring the whole group together. But like all six of you ain't gonna be best friends. But we need authentic friendships to make the show watchable.
Right.
That's why Martha's Vineyard got canceled. There were no authentic friendships on that show. Did you watch Martha's Vineyard?
Mm-mm.
You ain't missed nothing.
Everybody was trying to get me to watch it, and I tried to watch the first season on Peacock. I just wasn't interested in it. Like, I tried, but
I can understand. It wasn't an interesting show. Like everybody wanted to be all mad. Oh, they canceled the Black Bravo shows. And I'm like, it's gotta be good. And y'all weren't even watching my reviews. So if y'all weren't watching the reviews, you're not watching the show. Because you know this as we've been doing this for a decade now. We 10
yeah,
years in the game.
right.
How many times have you read the comment, I don't watch the show, but I
Watch your reviews.
yeah, you can finish the set. I never. If you're not even, if y'all, if those views aren't, up there, like if we can't crack 5,000, and I'm doing it like on the night it comes on, y'all don't care. Your colons are clean. You don't give a shit.
Well, with that being said, we can go ahead and get into the show. So since I'm glad that you are a person that watched this from the very beginning, because you probably remember everything that happened. I remember everything too, but I think you remember it more so than I do because you watched it from the beginning. I started watching it season 3 and I had to go back and watch it. So
Okay.
what would you say started the rivalry on the show with Karen and Gizelle?
Um, it is a beautiful frenemy rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
It I will say it started with Karen and her etiquette and trying to tell Gizelle about her etiquette and her rudeness. Oh yes, it all started when Gizelle sat center first season. It was Karen's 50. Well, let's see. She's 60 now. This was 8 seasons ago, so her 52nd.
Mm-hmm.
So it was her, and she looked great. I'm like, I want to look like that at 60, except male.
Right.
But that birthday, they were at a booth, and Giselle, and she was late, but it's your birthday, you're going to make an entrance.
Right.
So it was a booth, and Giselle was sitting in the center, and that ticked Karen off because she thought I should be in the center. It's my birthday. So that was the first fight. But what I feel like took it over the line, and that's when they really started going after each other, was Ray's tax debt.
I agree.
The fact that she made Ray's tax debt her plot line, the fact that she had T-shirts printed up. That was that I feel really stuck in her craw. I mean, it was in the Washington Post.
Yeah, it was.
So it was national news. It was national news, even international. He is the Black Bill Gates after all. But as a friend or even a frenemy, it's like you didn't have to go that low.
Yeah, I always felt like, of course they had their little spats and stuff like that. As you said, they were frenemies. So of course you would have those. But I think she went a little bit too far with the tax reform shirts and free Bill Gates and all that. And not only that, dressing up like a pizza delivery guy coming to a house.
That's right. Throbbing Dixon, got in drag. And I mean, is it really drag? Go on and put on your regular bulldagging clothing.
I knew that was coming.
Well, you know what isn't coming? Juan Dixon.
Well, he probably is coming, but not for
Not with her.
You know what I'm saying? So after the tax reform stuff, what would you say was the next thing that was another layer in this beef? Because that was in season 3, so we're going to season 4 now. So what would you say was the next thing?
That's when Karen really started her glow up. And that's when Karen stopped interacting with Gizelle as much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Karen started to give her the, I'm going to give you this right here, the Nene. And that's when she was developing her perfume. That's when Gizelle was starting to do Every Hue, which went nowhere. But Gizelle, I would say Karen was very cold to Gizelle, and every time there was something personal, I'm not telling her, I'm not involving her. And so she went above and beyond to be cold and try to ice Gizelle out. I feel like Gizelle, just every chance she got, she would take small digs at Karen. But, and oh my God, we can't forget about when Karen's wig was,
Right.
that wig, I mean, that was slipping. It must have been hot because that sweat undid all your wig glue, honey.
Exactly. Exactly. So do you think that by this point with, as you said, Karen was like, icing Gizelle out in the sense, do you think that she was was it a valid thing to do?
Absolutely, because if you're going to go to my house and really try to spy on me to see if I'm living where I say I'm living, or to put my business on as a plot line when you have nothing going on in your own life, when men get up and leave you like a bus station, when you can't find a man to save your life, when you're literally going back to your old vomit of an ex-husband so you can pretend you getting some penis. Monique aired you out about that. So I feel like when you can't expose anything in your own dry vagina life for a plot line, you got to come over to my house and try to sweep around my front door and make fun of my tax debt when you're living off of child support and would be about to be homeless if it wasn't for this show, don't you know? Because you haven't had a job since the 90s. Wow. So I would also ice someone like that out. You're just trying to use me for a check that, your ex is giving you and will soon run out because your children are off to college.
I do agree with you when you say that Giselle, like not Giselle, Karen icing Giselle out was a pretty valid thing to do, because I mean, in a sense, Giselle was, in my opinion, I felt like she was kind of like attacking Karen, especially at her most vulnerable state. Like, her husband's dealing with tax issues. Now you want to exploit that and put that to the forefront. But yet, in the same breath, you were irritated when they were bringing Sherman around to get under your skin. Not Sherman, what's her name? Kendall around to get under your skin.
That's right, Sherman's ex-wife, and
Yeah.
then we had to bring up the rumors about him driving around parks after dark. They tend to do a lot of that in the Southeast. Atlanta, DC, these men always getting caught in parks. Wasn't Cordelia Booty Toot Stewart caught in a park? Remember that Booty Toot video that leaked on FunkyDineva.com? Oh, God, those were the days, honey. Those were the days.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. So I think by the end of season 4, I think that Karen, because I know at the beginning of the season, Karen and Gizelle were trying to rebuild their relationship, because by this point, Karen had lost her parents by this point. So they were trying to.
And also when Karen lost her parents, Gizelle pulled back, and Karen was really like, she was in no mood. She was in no place.
I think they went to New Orleans that season. I believe maybe it was New Orleans. I don't know where they had to fight in the hotel room, in the hotel lobby at. I don't know where it was.
you're so right. They did have a fight in that haunted house, because Karen went up and she's like, I'm kind of tired, I'm done. And they saw her on Instagram Live, and Giselle's like, I thought you were grieving. How are you on Instagram Live? People can grieve on Instagram Live. I've done it. I
Okay.
all the way. It's like sometimes you need someone to talk to, and also need somebody to talk to that's not you.
Yeah, because like when my friend was killed last year, I was still doing lives. I was still, as hard as it was, I was still doing lives, still doing my videos, still doing my content, still doing all that.
Sometimes you need something to do. You can't just sit there and think like I have to distract myself.
Right. So I just felt like Gizelle just used that as a reason just to have a fight with Karen. I would feel like Gizelle would just do anything to fight with Karen. Like
Gizelle will do anything to fight with anyone so she doesn't have to talk about her sad, lonely life. Her
exactly.
daughters don't like her.
Mm,
They've said it on the show. Like, go back, watch that first season. They said you're like a vampire. You have no emotion. They said it out of their own mouths. They don't fuck with her. Like, I'm sure they tolerate her, but they ready to get out the door. Also, kids that age are ready to get out the door. But I'm gonna wish that family the best. But from what I see, I'm gonna call it like I see it. I don't see, closeness like that. I see the sisters are close, just not
mm-hmm.
with you.
So by the time we get to season 5, I think they was falling out again. I think mainly due to the Candace and Monique fight. They were
Oh, that's right, because Gizelle was hell bent on getting Monique off the show.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, that season 4 was when the fight was.
Season 5.
Season 5. Okay, so yeah, that was like she was really trying to be neutral, and Gizelle was just like, I'm not dangerous. I'm scared of you. Oh my god! I'm like, girl, you was scared because you instigated the fight, and you realized your ass might have gotten whooped because you knew you were next. That's why you were afraid and wanted her off the show, because you knew the horseman rides for you. And I'm sorry, Gizelle deserves to get mollywopped.
I
She
feel
has
like it too.
always been involved, instigated, behind the scenes, old Lisa Vanderpump bitch ass. I want to see it blow up in her face and somebody say, well, actually, you.
Because the fight with Candace and Monique, Monique should have been popping Gizelle instead of Candace.
Yeah.
That's who really deserved it. Like,
And Candace will still, and I think it's also, she will never admit that Gizelle punked you and Monique both and got you two fighting and was the cause and was the seed of discourse and discontent and was the one that grabbed and pushed her while everything was going on. And you shouldn't have been in her face, Candace. You shouldn't have been up in her face.
I feel like neither Candace or Monique ever sees that, because us as the audience, I've been saying this from day one. Gizelle, with a little bit of Ashley, started this whole thing with Candace and Monique from the very beginning of that season. They started it. And Gizelle put that bug in Monique's ear. Oh, Candace was hanging out with Sharice and and then Monique fell for it. Now they just buried the hatchet. Now they already back into it again due to something that Ashley told Gizelle. Now Gizelle done brought it to Monique. Then Candace Monique fight, and then Gizelle automatically takes Candace's side because she wants Monique off the show anyway. And now she wants Karen to get into it and say, we're not fucking with Monique either. Do you think that was one of the biggest problems that Gizelle had with Karen? Is like, they're not going to say that on the show, but behind the scenes, they probably felt like, okay, she put her hands on Candace. Let's see if we can get enough people to be on our side, so we won't film with Monique. So I already got Robin over here. She gonna be on my side anyway. So let's see if we'll get anybody else. We know Candace not gonna do it. So let's see if we can get Wendy. Okay, Wendy gonna go with whatever Candace going with. So okay, now we need Karen. So when Karen decided I'm gonna be neutral, I'm not gonna pick a side, Gizelle felt like Karen was dismissing Candace, or do you think that it wasn't even about Candace? It was more so about her own personal gain to get rid of Monique.
It was about her personal gain to get rid of Monique, and Karen didn't want to play that game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. Um, and then after that, it was more so of Gizelle butting into the issues that Karen and Candace were having, because Candace and Karen were having issues due to the fight because they didn't like her stance.
And Candace needs, like, Candace took and still takes no accountability for her behavior. Like, your husband is more likable than you. Everybody like Chris. And the only reason Candace became likable is because the colorism was so blatant. We don't like Candace. We just don't like colorism more. So we have to be on your side. But you ain't shit.
Oh.
And never been shit.
Oh my God, you are going in. By the time we get to the reunion, that's when Karen and Gizelle, they go back and forth. Karen asks Gizelle, is Jamal coming and all this other shit. So
no, of course not. Was your marriage in vain? Boom, boom, boom. Is your man coming? No, of course not.
and that sets it out for season 6. By this point, Gizelle is pissed at Karen.
Well, and Karen is pissed at Gizelle. And this is the season, I believe, that started with Karen saying, okay, Gizelle, I done had it. We gonna talk about your hot box.
Yeah.
The fact that you was at the loony bin because your husband wasn't paying his child support on time. We're gonna mention it all.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so they had that going on. Do you think that Gizelle had a right to be mad at Karen like she was that season?
No, because you pushed and you pushed and you pushed and you pushed and you put. What did you think was going to happen? When did you think fat meat was going to get greasy?
Because I didn't understand her anger that season. I didn't. Like, you've been playing this tit for tat game, being petty as hell for the last couple of years, and now that she's brought it right on back to you, you can't handle it. I don't get it.
And also, Gizelle never talks about her personal business, and Karen knows her personal business.
Right, exactly. I think I don't remember what got them to be cool again. It was somewhere towards the middle, towards the end of the season, they got back kind of cordial again.
I think it was the reunion. No, she was over. Karen was ready for her that whole season. It was the reunion when she said, next year, I'm going to watch your behavior, and Gizelle calm down and stop and focus way more on Candace. And realize, okay, I can't keep going after Karen because Karen's going to go on and get me.
Right. So before I even go into the question of the night, which is who was wrong, let me ask you this. With the recent news that broke out, because we all know that RHOP is filming right now. We don't know when it's coming out. It's probably going to come out before RHOA at this point because they started filming first. So with the news that's broken out about Wendy and Gizelle hugging and being nice to each other and being cool with each other, and Gizelle celebrating her birthday party with her, excuse me, what do you think happened? Do you think that is genuine, or do you think that Gizelle said, okay, my sidekick ain't here, I got bumped down to second seat, now I gotta make amends with these girls. So what do you think is what do you foresee right now with this current season that's filming right now? What do you see right
I think she called Carlos ass king, and he told her, "You need to kiss some ass. You
now?
need to turn over a new leaf and become likable, or this will be your last season."
Mm.
And you have no other, well, you've got that little podcast, but without you being on the show, who's going to listen? I
That's
mean, there's nothing like the advertising that Housewives of Potomac gives you.
right. That's true.
It keeps you relevant. Like, hell, now you're keeping Rob the Throb employed. So, and also, I think she doesn't want to look colorist. So she's like, okay, let me go over to Wendy and really try to salvage my image as well as keep myself on the show with the paycheck coming in. Her house isn't even finished yet. She's been on this show for 8 years with an unfinished home. But do I think it's genuine? No, it's as fake as her hair.
I was saying the same thing. I did say that I was gonna try to hold my comments until I see it, but it is kind of crazy to see how she's over there dancing with Wendy, all in pictures with Wendy, but wouldn't even speak to her all last season. Just wanted to pretend like the girl wasn't even there. So it's just like, okay, I wonder what her angle is now. Like, what is this? So I had to ask you that before I asked the question. Now, the question is, who was wrong? Karen, Gizelle, or was it a draw?
Gizelle was wrong. I think Gizelle was wrong when she did when she just wouldn't stop.
Yeah,
It was, you did big things, but also the constant little things, the constant pick, 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 pick.
I agree. I think the tax thing was enough for me. I think that was way too much. Like that was too much. Um, I don't even see how they got past that. Because I don't think I could have. Like that was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. So I think we both agree that Giselle was wrong. I think we both agree that she was the culprit. I think anybody that watches this will agree with everything that we just said. So that's all that matters. But before we go, I just want to thank you for doing this. Like I said at the beginning, we have been talking about working together for the last year now. And I was like, I keep forgetting that he's not an hour ahead of me anymore. He's 2 hours behind me now. So it makes it a little bit difficult for us to get together and do some things together. But you know, I'm always open at the end of the day.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This was a hoot.
It was. I knew it would be. I knew it would be. And another thing too, I don't know if you know this or not, but a lot of my subscribers have been asking for like a Scotty and Alex collaboration for a long time. Because they know that you was on the panel with us at one point, but then they said, when you gonna do it? When y'all gonna do something together? And I remember when you first reached out to me to do the allegedly show with you one time, I remember saying I should be doing it with him soon, and they was all excited about it. And I was like, we'll see. The time difference is a problem, but we'll see what we can do. So they've been wanting this for a minute now. They have.
Well, I am glad we delivered.
All right, then. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Alex, for being a part of it. And we are out of here until next time. Bye, y'all.